All right, so check this out. Quintuplets, 5 notes per beat. Or you might be familiar with septuplets. We could even take this to 9 notes per beat. But what happens if we go bigger? What would 11 sound like? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you hypertuplets. These giant rhythms offer a number of exciting musical possibilities. For example, because they're so big, you can divide the beat many different ways. Unlike your generic store-bought quintuplet swing, these larger tuplets, hypertuplets, offer a much larger variety of choice when it comes to rhythmic options. Which got me thinking, just how far can we take this? So there's some interesting research indicating that the slowest tempo we can feel is about 33 beats per minute. And that's about as slow as we can feel a musically connected pulse. Now, you would think to make the biggest tuplet possible, you would just play as fast as you can, squeeze as many notes into that 33 BPM pulse, right? Well, the answer is not quite that simple, and in order to get to the bottom of this, we're going to have to take into account human perception. You see, the problem with just playing at full-out max speed is that the notes tend to blur together. The faster the tempo is, the less we can distinguish individual notes, and the less rhythmic meaning those individual notes carry. And of course, if you speed up rhythm enough, you get pitch. So you have this weird gray area where your perception starts to change, and this change starts to happen at around 100 milliseconds. So when the inter-onset interval, that is, the space between the attack of 2 notes, is less than 100 milliseconds, our ability to perceive shifts in rhythmic timing starts to drop off, which means that we can set a theoretical limit for the fastest useful rhythm, I suppose, at 100 milliseconds. And that number turns out to be roughly 19 tuplets at 33 beats per minute. So this song, Threshold, which my band Sungazer released a few days ago, is based on this very concept of 19 tuplets at a slow tempo of 33 beats per minute. So it sounds like an odd time signature, but it's technically in 4/4. Very slow quarter notes, but 19 notes per beat. This song really plays with our sense of time, containing both some of the slowest and fastest elements that we can make musical sense out of. It is music, in other words, at the threshold of our rhythmic perception. If you want to learn more about the psychology of rhythmic perception, definitely check out my bandmate Adam Neely's video, which is out today. I also did a pretty thorough deep dive on this topic in my microrhythm video, so that's another one you can check out if you want. All you need to know for today is that 100 milliseconds is roughly the point where our perception of rhythm begins to change in a very big way, and so it's a useful guideline for setting our speed limit for the fastest subdivision possible. Okay, so this is all great in theory, but now we gotta make music with it. So how do you do that? Well, we wanted to begin by establishing this pulse. So all you're hearing are these very slow quarter notes and a lot of space in between. Then we wanted to gradually introduce some of the notes of the 19 tuplet. And so this builds little by little, exposing more and more of the 19 tuplets until we finally hit the first chorus, where finally all 19 notes are being played. The phrasing of the notes in the chorus breaks down to 6 + 6 + 7, which gives the song a feeling of almost being in 3/4. The The second verse is also based on the 6/6/7 pattern. Towards the end of the verse, the drums break away from this and play some syncopations. Since we have so many notes in the beat, there are many different ways that we can subdivide that beat. I like to think of these as being high-resolution rhythms. If you're using a smaller subdivision, like 3 or 4 or 5, you have less ways that you can split up the beat. You have less notes to choose from. But these larger subdivisions, these giant tuplets, give you the option to divide the beat into many, many, many different ways of accenting and phrasing things, thus giving you a higher resolution. In other words, these large tuplets are the 4K resolution of rhythmic subdivisions. One example of this is the bridge, which always kind of makes me laugh because it's taking the traditional jazz ride cymbal pattern and kind of 19-ifying it. And so this is a great example of how many different ways you can split up this 19.
Your ding-ding-a-ling. What are the ding-dings?
Yeah, so I basically try and split it almost in half, so it's like 10 and 9, I guess.
That's interesting. So it's kind of like 2.
Yeah, right.
Swung. So it's like 66 beats per minute swung.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
One thing that's cool about a number like 19 is that it's a prime number, meaning it can't be divided evenly into any other number. There's always going to be one part of the beat that's a little bit bigger than the others, no matter how you try and split it up. And that means that not only can you create, the chill hop tuplet grooves that we've all come to know and love. The sound of 2019. But in a lot of ways, I think these prime numbers can actually end up feeling a little more human than its simpler counterparts. There's something about those power of 2 subdivisions of 2, 4, and 8 that can almost feel more mechanical a lot of times than some of these odd and prime numbers. So there's a little bit of a smoothness built into these rhythms, and also playing them as tuplets as opposed to time signatures gives you the advantage of really being able to lay down that groove, establish a strong quarter note pulse and a backbeat on 2 and 4, which I think can potentially make these rhythms a little bit more accessible than some of their odd time signature counterparts. In any case, it's really kind of cool territory. It's pretty unexplored, and I would love to see more people playing around with these rhythms. So it's one thing to be a drummer having fun with this alone in your practice room, but it's a whole other thing to bring it to other musicians.
So tell me about Threshold. How do you feel that song?
So it depends on the section, honestly. For me, it's easiest to feel the beginning in groups of 3, basically. But then, when I'm responsible for more subdivisions later on, I have to shift to the other subdivision. And then it's way more comfortable because what it is that I physically am playing is beholden to that faster subdivision. But in the other sections, I'm just hitting downbeats. I don't need all that information. I don't need all that resolution. I don't need all those 19 notes that you're playing.
My approach to this was a little bit different because as a drummer, I want to be aware of all those 19 notes and I want to play them in a very precise way. So even when I'm playing in the beginning of the song where it's very sparse and I'm only hitting a few notes here and there, I want to really be aware of that 19 tuplet grid. Now, to do that requires a little bit of, well, you'll see.
Play us what you're going to be hearing in your ear.
This is what I do for fun. This might be loud. Woo! Oh.
That 3 thing at the end, actually, that really helps.
It does help. I mean,
Yeah.
You can kind of hear it as 5/4, but the last quarter note is shorter. 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2.
Okay. I was feeling it because you're mainly subdivided in 6/6/7, right? So it's like
Correct. Even though I'm hearing this in a click.
Oh god.
So I'm the 6/6/7 to me would sound like like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1. The thing is, there's so many ways that this tune is subdivided.
Right.
There's like 6, 6, 7. There's 5, 5, 4, 5. I don't know. I'm not even thinking about it that way.
Okay.
And so the reason that I'm hearing it the way I am is because we have constantly changing subdivisions, and so it's easier for me to just choose one, and I'm going to hear everything in terms of that, even if it doesn't totally make sense with the accents. So.
Half the band is feeling it in 3, and you're feeling it in 19.
Yeah.
It's just, but it's all in 4/4. It's all in 4/4, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm just feeling it, man.
Just feel it, man.
Just feeling it.
Feel it. Also, how the audience is feeling it. They're feeling it in 4. They're feeling it in this long thing, and they're just like.
Yeah.
So you got music that can be felt 3 different ways and is being felt 3 different ways for 3 different reasons, and that's cool and interesting. And what could that say about music?
So that's Threshold. The song is out now. The album will be out on October 11th, and there will be lots more to talk about once that happens. So stay tuned and talk to you soon.